It's 28 minutes past 8 a.m. on Morning Express, KTN News. We are talking about totally different things. And the question is, as an employee, do you know your right? Do you know your right when it comes to your welfare, where you're working, how you're being treated by your employer? Are you satisfied? What would make you want to leave where you're working to go to another working place? That is a discussion that we are having this morning about employee welfare with the CEO of Apptivate Africa, that is Nelly Ribeiro. I've gotten it right.
Yes.
And he's here to talk to us about employee welfare. When you talk about employee welfare, first of all, do employees in Kenya know about their rights when it comes to their welfare, where they're working, in terms of the way they're being treated, in terms of their leave days, in terms of, the amount of money they're also being paid as salary?
Okay. So, Brenda, the Employment Act is very specific on what the employees' rights are and what the employees can do in terms of how many hours that they're supposed to work, how many leave days they're supposed to get, and also, in what kind of environment they're supposed to be to work in. Unfortunately, I think in Kenya, most employers do not know what their rights are. And they just go ahead and work because they need that job in order to go ahead and pay for their rent and pay for their school for the kids and to put food on the table. But the Employment Act is out there, it's available online, and employees should go ahead and become well versed with the Act so they know what their rights are and go ahead and stand up for whatever they feel they should be getting.
Mm-hmm. And when you talk about employee welfare, what do we mean exactly? Because welfare is really broad.
So generally, from an HR perspective, employee welfare means that the employee who is coming to work is healthy from a physical standpoint and also from a mental standpoint. So it's not where the employee is coming to work and they work in an environment which is dusty, is dirty, is detrimental to their physical well-being, and also one that is not detrimental to their mental well-being. So not in an environment where you have excessive stress, not in an environment where your boss is constantly shouting at you, or you have pressures that are unacceptable.
Mm-hmm. And it's good you've said that welfare talks about the mental and the health, and it's something that some employers never look at. For them, it's a matter of, I need to see you working, I need to see you deliver, I need to meet the deadlines.
Yes. So there's two different kinds of employers. There are employers who will run their company like a sweatshop. Uh-huh. But there are many employers who are realizing that, my employee is an asset, not an asset on the balance sheet, but an asset that helps drive the success of my business. And without this employee, I cannot go ahead and drive the success of my business. Mm-hmm. And employers are looking to change the ways that they treat the employees in order to make sure that the employee is happy, satisfied. Mm-hmm. And this has to happen in three different ways now, because we have three different generations working for us. We have the baby boomers who are still working. We have Generation X who are still working for us. And we have the millennials. And each of them comes to work with a different motivation. You've got to make sure that you are accommodating all three of those generations.
Mm-hmm. And productivity. As an employer, how should I ensure that my employee is productive? This apart from maybe giving my employee leave days, or ensuring there's a team building activity, or celebrating the important days of their lives, like the birthdays, the anniversaries. What productivity, how can an employer ensure that the employee is productive?
So there's many ways to do it, but generally the way to do it is to make sure that the employee is not worried about things outside the workplace. So pay them a decent wage, mm-hmm. right, where they can make sure that they can take care of their basic needs. Not have them to worry about, in their younger years, about how they're going to pay the medical bills. Mm-hmm. And in the older years, make sure they're not worried about how they're going to go ahead and pay for their retirement when they retire. Mm-hmm. One other thing that we found in Kenya that works across all levels of the organization is to provide one basic need, which is food. Mm-hmm. And when the employee is fed, whether it's at the top of the organization or at the bottom, whether he's doing manual work or sitting behind a desk or out in the field, we found that food, because it's a basic need, has motivated employees across all levels.
But it's good to mention about food, and I mean everyone would want to talk about food, but then not so many employers think about the welfare of their employees when it comes to food, because an employer would look at it in terms of, you're working for me, I'm paying you, go get your own food.
The employer who thinks that way, I think it's thinking very short term. And let me just divide employees into 3 categories for the terms of food. Mm-hmm. So you have your factory worker who comes to work. He's had a mandazi or a KDF with some tea in the morning, and at home he'll have some ugali and sukuma. When you add all those calories up, it's about 16 to 1800 calories. This person needs 2200 calories in order to work. The reason why he's not buying lunch is because he can't afford it. If the employer was able to provide him with lunch, which costs 60, 70, 80 shillings, you're giving him those calories he needs in order to go ahead and increase his productivity and ultimately give profitability to the company. Most, in our studies that we've done, is a lot of Kenyans who are under 30 years old will not eat lunch in the last week before they're paid. Because
they don't have money.
They run out of money, right? Now, so you're paying this person, let's say 60 to 90,000 shillings, which is 2,000 to 3,000 shillings a day. He's coming to work to you, he's not eating lunch. In the afternoon, he's hungry, he's not performing, and he's waiting for 5 o'clock to leave to go home and eat. You're spending 2,000 shillings on him, but you're not getting the productivity that you can out of him because he's hungry. Go ahead and provide him that food for 100 shillings, 200 shillings, right? And get the productivity out of him. Ultimately, we have studies that have shown that feeding helps drive profitability.
Okay, when we come back, I need to bring Kenyans up to date with the developing story that we are still following up on, and that's the fire that's happened in Toi. When we come back, we shall be talking about how employers need to provide food for their employees, just to ensure that a happy employee in terms of the stomach is a productive employee, as you've put it. But let's now cross over to Toi Market and talk to our business reporter, that is Brenda Kerubo, who's been keeping tabs with this story. She's already on the ground. Kerubo, good morning. The last time we talked, we were having a discussion about fire engines having run out of water, and they had gone back to, get water. And of course, we had also tankers trying to help put out the fire. What is the latest? Has the fire been put off completely?
Well, Brenda, not such a good morning here from Woodley in Kibera. It's such of a sorry affair and a sea of ashes, what I would term at the moment. Of course, the fire hasn't been put out. We're still seeing spots and itty bits of the fire. We've seen lots of ashes, lots of structures that have been, blazed down. But also where I am at the moment is next to the market where we have residential homes. The estate is called Riziki. It's just near the Toi Market, and most of the people who live here actually work at Toi Market. Brenda, around 30 houses were brought down in, the fire that started at 3 a.m. in the morning. And if I can just stretch, further, the woman who's working with a purple and a white dress, if you can see her, she's very sad at the moment. We asked her for a commentary. She didn't give us one. This is because behind, right where she was coming from, where she's walking towards, is where her M-Pesa shop was, as well as a house. She says she has lost everything, and she says that, she was actually crying when she was speaking to me some 5 minutes ago. She was saying the fire started and we couldn't salvage anything. We just started removing our property, but my business ended up in flames. She lost her M-Pesa shop. She says that it was her source of income. It was very lucrative. As you know, this is a place where it is very synonymous when it comes to small, medium-sized enterprises, as well as businesses which are small. So they always remove and they put in small money using M-Pesa. She's just one of them. Her neighbor next door has children, she has a family, and she says she doesn't have a home now. She's very confused. And when I asked her for a commentary, she also started crying. And she was telling me, what do you want me to tell you? I don't know what to tell you. I'm in so much pain. Brenda, this is just some of the sentiments that we are getting here from people who lost their homes, in the inferno. And as you can see, some of the properties that were salvaged, we can see some furniture, some cupboard, we see some briefcase, we also seen some, weaves and hair, some, some kitchen equipment. Of course, it's not such a pretty picture, because, property belongs inside a house, but now they do not have a house where they can put it in. Now, someone who lost a lot of property here where we are at the moment, we're joined by a resident. Hebu tuambie, jina lako ni nani? Na umepoteza kiwango gani ya property yako hapa?
Kila kitu kwa nyumba kimechomeka, na tumeshangaa sana kwa sababu yale tumeona hapa ni maajabu kabisa, kwa sababu nyumba zote zimeletwa chini na moto. Na nikisema vile nimeona huyu moto, niliamuka saa 9 usiku nikaona moto umeanzia pale Toi huko ndani, na nikaona nikipigia wasima moto simu wanaweza kuja watuokoe. Nikapiga simu wakaniambia wanakuja. Tena nikapiga simu ya pili baadaye wakaniambia wanakuja. It was around 3 o'clock. Imagine up to 5. That's when we had them coming. When everything has been wrested down by fire. So we are wondering whether these people can really help